Hey everybody, Mako Titan here. I just wanted to say that before we get into this, this is not going to be your typical Let's Play that you're used to from me. That's probably already apparent by the more serious tone of my voice here at the beginning intro. The reason for that is quite simple actually. Usually when I do a Let's Play, I record the video, the audio, the picture-in-picture, everything's all done at the same time. And a lot of the focus is being put on the commentary that I do for you. I like to write jokes. I like to tell, make stories and just overall act kind of like a dumbass. But I do that so you guys get the maximum entertainment value out of the video. And when I do that, I still enjoy playing the game, but it often becomes about the commentary and what I'm going to say next, opposed to the video that you're watching. So what I wanted to do differently, since No Man's Sky is an incredibly different kind of game from, what I'm normally used to playing, I decided to take this into perspective, and what I'm doing now is I am playing the game and immersing myself in it as much as possible, and then I'm going to go back and commentate over my video so I can give you, an outside perspective on what I've done after the fact, when I've thought about it. Some things have soaked in, and I can comprise a better story about what I've done in a more serious tone. I feel that this game, though it is overhyped, I think that it deserves that from me for you guys. And there's plenty of crazy stuff on my channel. If this isn't your style of video, you can go check out that stuff. And it's all good if this isn't your thing. But I wanted to try something a little different, and that's why I'm doing this. Now, really quickly about this kind of game, I'm terrible at them. This is not my style of game whatsoever. But I really could not stay away from it. I mean, every media outlet, and I do mean every media outlet, every video game website, everything is talking about No Man's Sky. So, I had to jump into it, and I had to make content for you guys. So we'll see how this goes. If you enjoy it, let me know down below in the comments. If you like it, leave a like. If not, I still like your feedback, so let me know what you think. And without further ado, here's the first episode of No Man's Sky. Okay, so you're obviously first greeted with this title screen that allows you to kind of command your way through space a little bit. If you're lucky, right there you can see other people who've named things in the galaxies. But yeah, I was confused. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really know what to do. So I sat here at the initializing screen for a little bit until I figured out I needed to do the prompt. So my first planet was kind of barren. It was not a place that you would want to set up shop and call your home. I am playing on PC, so what ended up happening was a lot of manual resets after selecting my proper field of view and upgrading the what are they called? The settings, to ultra high or high. So yeah, as you can see, it's a very warm, hot planet with not a lot of foliage, and even there you can see the frame rate was pretty subpar. But I do like my flag. I think my flag is very almost Green Lantern like. That was pretty cool, I thought. Yeah, the frame rate was hitching up pretty decently bad here early on. But I decided to go ahead and start embarking on my journey. This is literally the first moments of me taking my very first steps onto, on this new planet. I wanted to just try to figure out how to use the mining tool at first, and I really wasn't sure why I was even doing what I was doing. I know that the objective that they gave me was to fix my ship, but I had no idea what that meant. I'm very bad at these kinds of games. but I was still, intrigued. I wanted to know what I was doing and learn more. So I continued to look through the menus and continued to check my inventory for my suit to just kind of constantly remind myself and process the next step. Again, looking at the terrain, there's nothing there. It was just a barren wasteland. I attempted to scan a lot, and I kept reminding myself that I needed to fix it, which I inevitably did. I started to see the life forms here on the planet, and I couldn't scan them yet, but they looked peaceful. They looked like little corgis almost, with some kind of weird rhino head. I learned quickly how to adjust my jumps so I could, make giant leaps and not have to worry about taking any fall damage. I made my way back to my ship a lot. Something that I was told early on was to get in and get out. That way you always have a save state, because for some reason the game doesn't save when you jump in. It only saves when you get out, and that's weird. But yeah, I was continuing my journey to try to figure out how to repair my ship, and the night cycle kicked in, and it was not a very friendly looking sight. It's very toxic. Very, very bland, very kind of gross almost. But I found my first little waypoint there, and from what I looked at on other people's streams and the minor things that I had seen, you could obtain blueprints by going in and looking at certain things, which I think I do here. Still not knowing what to really do with any of these. It's kind of a crapshoot. Now this one was already done for me pretty much. I had already gotten everything that I needed to craft this, so I went ahead and did that. It felt good to save. It felt good because I knew that there was a hard line where I wouldn't have to worry about things going wrong and the game crashing. I could just start from right there, and my jump kind of sucked there. But man, I took a lot of fall damage there. I guess I was just testing out my limits, seeing what the height is that you can jump from and how much it hurts when you land. I feel that's important to learn early on. Here I started to actually get to experience some of the life and scan it. This creature that I found really was unique. I don't even know how to really describe it. But I haven't seen anything quite like it on anybody else's pictures or streams. So I felt it was important to include this into this episode. A flat horn, a wide-angled tail, and I don't know what those legs are called, but they almost look like the kind of legs that you would put on an amputee, like one of the ones that have like the springs to them. I'm apologizing, I don't really know the proper name for them, but they kind of replicate that. Here I was determined to see one thing and one thing only. I wanted to know if you could ride these. And I'm sure most of you have given it a shot, but I figured, hey, if the base of it's wide enough, maybe I could get on it and just follow it around. Turns out the physics won't allow such a thing, so I kind of moved on. I made my way back to the ship after finally repairing it, and I ventured off into space for the very first time after getting one final look here at the very beginning of this episode. And it was just nice to be able to I don't know, finally reach space. It was something that, you know, it may not have seemed like a lot because I edited the first part of this episode a lot, but to get to this point, the anticipation, like knowing that what I've seen before in videos, it was all going to look pretty much not the same, but I knew what to expect a little bit, but to finally achieve it and do it on my own, it was something that honestly words just really can't put into place for this. It's such a wondrous feeling to finally get out there and get into space and kind of get that small glimpse of how tiny you really are in this world. So I decided to just jump to the nearest thing that I saw, which was a space station, and the game was giving me minor tutorials along the way, telling me how to do you know, warps like this to help speed up the process and get there sooner. At first I didn't know if any of the rocks were going to hit me, but apparently that's not something that can happen when you're warping like that. This was a really cool feeling, docking in the space station. The music's really cool, and just the sense of scale there, like, I don't know, something about it, just getting in there and docking, it felt less remote than being on a planet. You actually felt like, oh, well, yeah, other people were doing this, other people are close to me, you know, even if they're actually not. I went into here thinking maybe I could find somebody to communicate with, and turns out there wasn't. I did learn a little bit. I learned a little bit about the posts here where you can trade or not trade, but buy and sell, and that's always good if you ever needed to. I took a quick skim and looked at this stuff, but there was nothing really, you know, inherently needed at this current point in my adventure. I just kind of got a feel for what costs what and what might be given. Ironically enough, I did, you know, find out that there would be things later on that might be more rare for certain stations, so maybe there might be a planet nearby with a resource that I could sell for higher value in another location. This was my first experience with actually communicating with some of the other life forms. Nothing really transpired here. I just kind of again got the feel for the buy and the selling, and found out you can even buy their ships, which most of you know that, but you know, it was news to me, which I like discovering those sorts of things. Leaving the station was another feeling of like, oh man, now where do I go from here? What do I do? So I decided to just kind of turn it around and go to this planet here, and very soon you're going to see something that I wanna inform you of. The video is going to go into fast motion here. It's going to be sped up 500 times its normal speed, and that is because I saw a signal coming from the planet. But every time that I thought I was getting close, the number would readjust and go further away, and I could not figure out why it was happening. Here's where this starts happening, right about here. So I travel, and you can see the number is going down, but then when I get to certain points, it adjusts and goes up and it goes down, and I never knew why I couldn't get close enough to it. I'll continue to let you look at this, and just maybe somebody in the comments can tell me why. Maybe it was off planet, maybe I just didn't know, so I went up back into space thinking, oh, you know, maybe I'm missing the key here to where this is at, but it does look like it's on the planet. However, when I get there, it's getting further away. I even consider the possibility that the planets are rotating, and there's a chance that maybe it was just rotating and I wasn't getting close enough because I wasn't catching up to its orbit. This kind of looks silly sped up. So inevitably I did give up because I saw that it was just getting further and further away. So I decided to just explore a little bit. As you can see, the hitchiness of that landing was pretty rough on PC. This planet in particular took its toll on me. I wasn't happy here. I cut a lot of this out. I didn't want to live it again. I didn't want to see any more of it. It did not appeal to me in any way, shape, or form. I did find my first hostile creatures, though, which I tried to shoot with the mining gun, and that did nothing. I came across my first ruin, which I learned a little bit. Like, these are mainly used to learn the language of the Gek. On my way back to the ship, I noticed a very large creature occupying a space nearby. And I wanted to get more information on it. I guess it was just checking out my ship. But I wanted to know more about it. But before that, I went to go get some resources. And while I was doing that, I guess I kind of pissed off the robot police because they started to attack me. And I immediately sought refuge to my ship because I did not want to see what they were made of at that time. But they didn't leave me alone for quite some time, so the only option I actually had was to get out, fight them, and see how I would fare. And it came down to it. It wasn't actually as hard as I thought it was going to be. Nothing too out of the realm of doability. So I went back after that and started looking at the wildlife again. This is a weird creature. I don't know where its muscles begin. It's got a camel hump. It's got a very weird set of horns, like almost like a billy goat face. Man, they were not... I don't know how to describe them. I did this for about 20 minutes. And then I came across another station. Well, not station, I don't really know what they're called. A little camp or something. But I met this guy. And I love this guy's voice. It was really fun. But yeah, all this guy seemed to want was a little bit of cash. So I hooked him up. Why not, right? I made his day. He gets extremely excited about this. And he hooked me up too. And real quick, I want to say that my originality was not quite there. I went back and I named the first planet that I was on, my very first one, and I decided to name it Mako Titan's first planet. That's not original at all, I know. So I'm probably going to get some flack for that. But hey, at least I will know it's mine. So I did do some more researching of the creatures on the planet. I like this guy. This guy looks like a dinosaur, and that is cool. But just not very big. He wasn't super huge when I went up to him. And it must have angered another species on this planet. I was so done with this planet. Everything was kind of going wrong, and things were attacking me. So I did hear what I normally do in this situation, and that's flee to my ship. It seems to be the good go-to plan to get out of trouble. And I didn't even really want to approach these guys any further. I knew that they were going to be hostile. I didn't want to kill them because I'm on their planet. So I just took off. I went searching a little bit. But then I had a moment here. I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave this planet. That bugged me because there was something that I was trying to do on this planet in the first place that I couldn't accomplish, and that was find out what that signal was. So I decided to give it one more go. I decided to stop what I was doing, think about it, and reevaluate where that signal was coming from. So I kind of jetted across space and kind of approached it from the top, and sure enough, I finally found a way to catch up to it. The draw-in of this really sort of breaks the immersion here. Finding a landing spot in this area was quite difficult because it was very rocky, very, very rough. But I was glad that I did finally land and made my way to the long-awaited signal that I was seeing from afar.
Alert. Navigational data received.
Something that was really cool by this, which I had to look at, was this cave. How could you not go in this cave? The atmosphere was just incredible in here. It wasn't very big. There wasn't many places to go, but still, any kind of atmospheric change from what was out there was a big welcome. I couldn't really stand this planet. I think I've said that 3 times now. I felt very bad being on this planet. But I enjoyed this for what it was, and there wasn't much to do. Just a couple bit of resources, some iron, some carbon. Not too much. Made my way back to the ship. And went over to what the signal had uncovered. Again, you can really see the frame rates during the landing sequences the most. Here I decided to finally force myself and learn how to craft the bypass chip, which not very hard, but for me it actually took quite a little bit because I'm not good at these games. Not these kind of games anyway, these survival and crafting games. Remember the little crab thing that tried to kill me earlier? Well, I decided to seek out a little bit of revenge after crafting my first weapon. And that would apparently spark the interest of the robots on the planet, because both of them came over to have a little look. To which I didn't really want to stick around for too much longer. They were kind of suspicious. I tried to do my best to eliminate any resource gathering in this later half of this episode. Here I landed and I saw a nice ship, and I was quite jealous. I got a chance to look at the possibilities of how much inventory I could be holding, and I'm just not there yet. But something to look forward to, nonetheless. This is another guy who I really like his voice. I think I would talk like that if I could. Lo and behold, though, I didn't realize that finding that signal was definitely part of the beaten path to the center of the universe, because I was able to get the blueprints for the hyperdrive, which is something you absolutely need to jump from galaxy to galaxy. So I finally bid this planet adieu. What happens here is quite interesting, because in my mind I'm thinking, man, I don't know where these resources are to build this hyperdrive. I think about, like, what can I possibly do to make this easier on myself? So I travel back to the space station. And my track of thinking here was, if I have enough money, which I didn't even actually know how much I had at that point, but maybe I could buy what I needed to have in order to craft the things for the hyperdrive. So I go up to the terminal here in the space station. Turns out I have nothing even close to what I need. I don't show it here, but I end up selling some things for some money, but it's not nearly enough. So in a really weird twist of fate, I said, well, I gotta go to a planet now and get my resources. And I look up and what do I see? Home. I see my very first planet. The one that I couldn't wait to get off of. And I decide, you know what? I'm familiar with it. Might as well go ahead. So I actually end this episode. I end my first playthrough. After about 2 hours of this, I end with my first planet all over again. And coincidentally enough, I thought it was funny because once I spent about a 20-minute period back on this planet again, I realized that I do have, as it says so many frequent times below, unclaimed DLC, which means I have a ship that already has a hyperdrive built in waiting for me. So I actually go ahead and I did that. I went ahead and made the transfer now that I had the blueprint, and I got the hyperdrive. So I sat in my cockpit of my new ship and I pondered what I had actually gone through and what was next for me. And really the sky's the limit. So everybody, I can't wait to see what happens next in my journey. But this is going to conclude my very first episode into the vast, vast world of No Man's Sky. Thank you for watching.